welcome back to my channel. It is time for a December bloom update and I'm so excited to show you everything that I have going on right now. I've got like 10 different orchids in bud or in spike. I do have a surprise to show you at the end. It is my Dendrobium Nobly, which I'll show you. It's starting to open up. But the weather here has been pretty crazy. It was like 60 degrees over the weekend. It was beautiful. It felt like spring. And then today we have a snowstorm. When I took the video in the beginning, it was like 30 degrees. So it's been everywhere. I'll show you a video of the snowstorm right now. So in terms of my orchid care routine, everything's been pretty steady. I've throttled down the my fertilizer routine just because I noticed some salt buildup in my pots, so I'm flushing a little bit more, I'm fertilizing a little bit less. I am fertilizing at a rate of 150 parts per million, and I'm flushing twice a month right now instead of fertilizing, just because I noticed that salt buildup and I don't want my orchids to have that buildup. Otherwise, everything's been kept the same. I alternate between Super Thrive or Kelp when I fertilize, and sometimes I flush with some CalMag as well. Other than that, everything's looking pretty good. I am struggling with 2 orchids, which I'll show you. But anyway, let's dive right in.
All right, diving right in. Here's my Phalaenopsis stars Fiona. It has a double spike. I don't know if it's to do with my orchid hobbyist lights, but we've got some buds that are forming, and in about 2 months, maybe a month, I will probably start seeing those blooms. It's got some nice root tips coming in, and overall, I'm really happy with it. I just have to stake them up, I think, since they're taking some space, but really happy with the progress on this one. Moving on to my Oncidium Heaven Sent Sweet Baby, it's got a nice long spike that formed after repotting. It has a nice new growth coming out up here in the front, so that one should also lead to a spike in a couple of months. But this spike is actually coming out of a bulb that had a spike already on the other side. So I'm super excited. It's something that I just learned about this orchid, that it can give you 2 spikes per bulb. Got another growth coming in here, and there's also a new growth coming in towards the back. It's a little bit hard to see, but there it is. So there's something popping out there. So we've got 3 new growths. This is going to be a very vigorous, bushy orchid. I'm sure that spike will take a while, but I can't wait. Moving on to my other Oncidium Twinkle. This is my Oncidium Twinkle Oro, and this one is a spike that is starting to bloom. In total, this orchid has 14 different spikes, and this orchid is a very slow grower. It's going to definitely take a long time for all of these to open up, but I'm excited. This one is the Phalaenopsis Amboinensis, and that one will open up maybe in another week or so. And this one here is the Phalaenopsis Hieroglyphica. This actually came in bloom almost a month ago. It's starting to fade just a tiny bit. It's given me 4 flowers. I accidentally took 1 flower off when I was trying to bring the spike up, but this is just absolutely beautiful. No fragrance, but I think the best thing about this orchid is that it has this beautiful frilly lip. It's very dainty, beautiful to look at. So my Tolumnia has been giving me a lot of trouble. It's had mealybugs this month. It's not looking super great. I think I've gotten rid of all of them, but I'm just struggling with. Down here I've got some Dendrobiums and I've got some Cattleyas. They are growing pretty nicely. In the back, this is my Brassolalia Wine Leopard Xinghua. It's got a new growth on the left. I'm really excited about that one. This is my Dendrobium. This is one that had spider mites. No longer there, thank goodness. But this is my other Cattleya. This is probably my largest Cattleya. This is the Hawaiian Wedding Bride, and it has a new growth popping in. So I'm excited about it. The roots are doing really well too. And moving on, this one is my Patanera Barana Beauty Barana. On the very right, there is a brand new growth. which is starting to mature. So hopefully this one will give me some buds in the next few months. I'm really excited about my Dendrobium Nobly. So this actually went into bud. I was thinking it was going to be cakeys, but taking it outside really did the trick. I'll take you guys in a little bit closer shortly, but this one has a cluster of dual buds, and we've got some with 3 buds. So this one's a no ID. I'm really excited to see what these flowers look like since I've never seen them before. And I think this orchid thinks it's a spring because it is growing some new growths. I've just started to water. Hey, why not? But it's going to take some time for it to get used to my climate. But I'm really, really, really looking forward to seeing what flowers these are and what they do. So we'll see. This other one is another Cattleya that I have. The roots are growing really, really nicely. This orchid is called the Cattleya Hinzing Greensworth, and it's got a new growth as well, so I'm really looking forward to that. I remember it being super fragrant, so I really can't wait. My dendrobiums have been doing nothing since I've gotten them. They haven't bloomed, they haven't budded, they're just existing. My Vanda continues to do well. The bottom leaf is dropping, but it's got a new leaf coming in, so we'll see how that does. My Cattleyas are doing pretty well. I've upped the light over here, so everything's doing well. I moved this Vanda down to this higher light, and it's starting to push out new roots, so I'm doing something right there. But so far, my Cattleyas, as you guys know, most of these on these shelves are pretty young, so they can't bloom just yet. They just need some more time in vegetative growth. They're popping roots out like crazy. They've been quite unruly. I'll put up a couple of videos so you can see what I mean here. Down here, I've got a spike on this Phalaenopsis, which is great. All of my phals are spiking right now. My Maxillary Tenefolia back there is doing really well. I'll take it out so you can see it more closely. My Catacetums are doing really well. I'm tapering off the water, but this cat, I swear, I'm so over her. She keeps eating the leaves. It's okay. These are going dormant anyway. This one has a new growth, so I have to be careful with the watering, and I'll show you in a bit. And the one in the back, I'm really excited because it has a flower spike. The water has been tapered off significantly just because I don't want to rot the growth on that new one. But I'm watering maybe every 3-4 days, and every week I'm just slowing down another day. My Oncidiums are doing all right. They're all in vegetative growth, no spikes on these. Moving on to the top shelf, I have my seedlings and new transitions under a heat mat. I keep this at 100 degrees so it can get some bottom warmth. They're doing well. I see a lot of my transitions. They're pushing out new roots. So far, everything's looking good. I may have to adjust the light. Some of them are getting a little too much light, but I'm seeing a lot of progress, and I'll grab a few of these so you can see them. My Sogo Vivian Leaf's Edge had a broken spike when I got it, but it started pushing out a new spike from one of the nodes, so I'm really excited to see the blooms it brings me. But I'll take you closer shortly. I'll take a couple of these individual plants and show you what's going on. The biggest theme for December has been definitely flushing my pots. I'm seeing more salt accumulation, so I've been tapering back my fertilizer. And I've also seen some spider mites on my new Catacetums, so I've taken care of that. I just quickly jump on them to make sure nothing spreads. And so far, I have everything under control. I've been moving very, very quickly. Anyway, let me take you closer on some of these. Moving on to my Maxillary Tenefolia. This one's the yellow form. This one I moved it under brighter light conditions, and I immediately saw a big difference. It's starting to push out some new bulbs immediately ever since I moved it closer to the light source. So it's got, that one is a new bulb there. Here's another one. There are about 4 or 5 different bulbs that are growing, so I'm excited about this one. We'll see how it blooms in the spring. Here's a closer view of my Dendrobium Nobly. This is my no ID Den Nobly. Don't mind the leaves. My cat did chew through a few of them. But take a look at those buds. You see some to the right are triple buds, and on the left we've got some double buds. Again, I have no idea what flower this is going to look like. I have no idea what ID this is. So I'm so excited to see it. Moving on to my Catacetums, this one has a brand new growth. I've slowed down the watering. I don't want to rot that new growth, so I've been just tapering down, like just barely giving it any water, and it's starting to trigger dormancy. And this other one is my Catasetum Kleberianum crossed with Catasetum tigrinum. It's got a flower spike, so I'm really excited about this one. I'm watering it, but barely, just giving it a little bit, not drenching it completely every day. Um, I can't wait to see this bloom, and this is the tiniest, nicest little catasetum. It's truly a mini, and I really like it. Moving on to my seedlings, these are under my heat mat. This is my Wrinklia Digbiana. It's got a nice new growth. It is starting to push out new roots. This is quite a young orchid, so it is a couple of years from blooming size. And update here is that it's doing really well in this growth system. So, I mean, I'd say that the water is definitely it's sucking up its water reservoir quite quickly every day, and I'm happy to see the new growth. And this one is my Neo-Phoenicia Falcara. It's surprisingly doing very well for me. The roots actually survived the semi-hydro transition, and with the exception of a couple of roots at the very top, there's some new roots that are going down into the medium. I'm super excited about this one because I was quite worried. This one's my Phoenicia Cherry Blossom, Carmela. And this one is interesting because it is prone to anthocyanin and it is turning quite purple. However, the biggest thing here is that it's been pushing out some new roots and I've got 2 spikes that have come in, so I'm really excited about that. Now this orchid, you can see the spikes right here. So the roots died off in this transition, but it's pushing out new roots, and I'm very excited about the 2 new spikes. I'm very hopeful about the transition overall. Moving on to my Miltoniopsis Lila Farnihu, and I've got my Dendrobium Monosmum in the back and my Odontocitium in the front. This is my cool growing section, and I've decided to move these orchids to my bedroom where it's closer to 60, 70 degrees. Sometimes it gets a little cooler, but hopefully I can trigger a little bit of a winter type rest. This one over here is my Oncidium Twinkle Fragrance Fantasy. This one is in full bloom. It's got 3 spikes on it and it's very beautiful. So far it smells like vanilla, but hopefully it stays that way. I find that the fragrance for the Oncidium Twinkles tends to change, so we'll see how it does. And this is my complex Phal. This is a no ID that I got for my birthday, and it's still in full bloom, still looking very beautiful in its container. And it stays quite humid in this bedroom, so hopefully those cool growers do quite well. All right, this one's my Monurara Millennium Magic Witchcraft. It is heading into dormancy very quickly, but what I find interesting with what's going on with this is that it is starting to push out a new growth. So the last time I watered this orchid was 2 weeks ago, and of course my cat always comes up. I don't want to give it any more water just because I don't want to rot that new growth, so I'm going to give it until that growth is much larger, then I'll resume watering, but I'm going to let it go dormant and I'm going to let that new growth just get some leaves, get some roots, and then once it's a little larger, then I'll resume watering and then we can go from there. Here's another Phal with a spike. This is my pink and yellow Phal, and yes, that leaf break is due to my cat knocking it down. And here she is again, just taking up space as I'm trying to record a couple of my orchids in front of lights. So not everything's been rosy, so my Dendrobium Buttercup continues to decline overall. I think it has a fungal infection. Someone mentioned that they believe it's a calcium or magnesium deficiency, but the more I have it, the more I think it's more of a fungal infection. I sprayed it down with Physan 20 several times. I've cut the leaves off that were affected, and it keeps coming back with more spots. So I don't know what to do with it. The one silver lining is that roots are going down into the Leca, so that's great. But I don't want to chuck this plant. I can cut the leaves off. I can continue doing that, but I think I'm just going to be left with bare canes. I don't know if I'll be able to resolve this, but I'll keep everyone posted. If anybody knows what's going on here, has any guidance, do leave me some feedback in the comments. But I wanted to show you guys this. This one is not doing well at all.
So that's pretty much it. I recorded all of this just a couple of days ago, and I have a surprise, and it is my Dendrobium Nobly. So she opened up literally just yesterday, and she is looking so pretty. Let me take you a little bit closer. So here she is. She's just starting to open up. She is so beautiful and dainty. I don't think I expected her to be light pink. I think when you have a no ID orchid, you truly never really know what you're gonna get. She's got a bunch of buds that are gonna start opening up between today and tomorrow, and then she's got this other cane in the back here that hasn't opened, and one over here that still needs to open. But I just really, really like the flowers, and they're just starting to completely unfurl, but I'm really happy with it. I'm not detecting any fragrance yet, but I'll keep you guys updated. So I'm really excited with what's going on. I've got, like I said, I've got like 10 orchids in spike or bloom right now, so there's a lot coming for the winter, which is great since New York City is about to go into another lockdown. So it'll be nice to have some blooms in the apartment. I am struggling with 2 orchids. That Dendrobium Buttercup is just, it's a big struggle for me. I don't know what's going on. I think it's a fungal infection. I have amped up the calcium and magnesium. Initially, someone mentioned that it could be a calcium or magnesium deficiency, so I did amp that up, but it is not helping. I've cut the leaves off for that orchid, and the spots keep coming back. So it's either I remove all of the leaves or I let them die back naturally. When those spots take over, they literally eat the whole leaf off and it falls off. So I have it away from my collection, but we'll see. The other orchid that I'm struggling with is my Tolumnia. It keeps getting mealybugs. I'm spraying it down. I think I have it, and I think I have the culture right. They like to dry out a little bit more, so I am being very mindful of that, and hopefully I can take good care of it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope everyone's geared up for a wonderful holiday, and I will talk to you guys soon. In the meantime, if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more orchid videos. Do follow me on Instagram. I do post very regularly there. If you follow me on Instagram, you already saw the progression of my Dendrobium Nobly every day. I was posting even to like the hour. I was like, oh my god, it's opening up. So it's nice. If you guys follow me there, I have way more updates. It's Nicole Deanna Orchids on Instagram. And thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.